Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today's lecture is about microfabrication technologies. The topics of this chapter or this in microfabrication would be microsystem products, microfabrication processes, and nanotechnology. A question arises that why manufacture small devices and components at micro and nano scale, why we need it. Then another question could be that what about their economies of scale. Economies of scale means if we are making it in bulk or it's at high volumes, that what will be the effect on the prices of these products. So let's have an introduction of these technologies. The trend is miniaturization of products and parts with feature sizes measured in microns. Some of the terms used in this microfabrication is one is MEMS. MEMS stands for micro electromechanical systems and devices. Another term used in references and in books and in research papers is MST, that is microsystem technology. That is the refers to the products as well as the fabrication technologies. And in some places they use the nanotechnology, that is even smaller devices whose dimensions are measured in nanometers. So it means that these are the small products or components, and their sizes ranges from 10 raised to power minus 6 meter to 10 raised to power minus 9 meter. When it is around 10 raised to power minus 6, then it is called micro systems. When it is at 10 raised to power minus 9, then it is called nanosystems. In some places it is called MEMS, micro electromechanical systems, and in some places they called it MST, microsystem technology. So when they are talking about microsystem technology, then that also include their fabrication, manufacturing, and production processes as well. These are the parts and these are the miniature insects, and some of the literature shows that it is being used for spying as well. So you can see the sizes of these small components made by MST technology, and you can imagine their sizes as well. This is an electromagnetic actuator that is used with the sensors and to sense the and the inside the structure is there, and it is micro machined by microfabrication processes, and the movement of this structure is responsible for the signal generations. This is a MEMS accelerometer. It is used in the airbag systems in automobiles, and at the end is a fixed support. And these are the there are two colors. One is the blue color, and another is the yellow color. This blue color is a structure, and when acceleration is given to it, then it moves from left to right. And the yellow color are the fixed electrodes. So due to that movement, when it moves from left to right, this structure, then there is a change in the capacitance of these two structures between these two, and then that capacitance is measured by the is proportional to the acceleration produced into the system, and that is measured by the sensors. This is a modern microsensors. On the left side is electromechanical system. It was some time back, its size was like this, but now it is micromechanical system. Its size is this, but this figure is old. Now its size is much smaller than these. This is a mini car manufactured by Denso Car Company, and it is a variation, it is a miniature version of the Toyota first passenger car. It is fabricated by MEMS technology, and it is 1/1000th of the size of the original car. You can see its size. It consists of a 0.67 millimeter magnetic type working motor, and when supplied with 3 volt 20 milliampere alternating current through a 18 micrometer copper wire, the engine runs at 600 rpm to 5 to 6 millimeter per second. So this just shows that how the technology can be utilized at this level to make products and components. In our smartphones, MEMS technology is there, and there are different parts such as accelerometers, gyroscopes, compasses, pressure sensors, and speakers and projectors, etc. So only in our phone, the MEMS technology is there, and a lot of parts is fabricated by this technology. So what are the advantages of using these products? One of them is that they have less power requirements. They have they are taking less space as compared to the larger products. They have more functionality per unit space, and they use less material as compared to the bigger products. The types of the microsystems is basically, in most of the cases, it is the microsensors and actuators, microactuators. Microsensors are used for measuring the force, pressure, position, acceleration, and temperature, while the actuators are used to generate forces and rotations, and they are mostly valves, switches, pumps, rotational and linear motors. Microstructure and micro components, at that level, it is the parts are microscopic lenses, mirrors, nozzles, and beams in different products, used in different products. Micro instruments, for instance, they are used in micro lasers and airbag systems in automobiles. So basically, the microsystem devices consist of microsensors and micro actuators and some other parts or components. Its industrial applications are in inkjet printing heads. That is a very big contribution of this technology in our daily life. Thin film magnetic heads, automotive components, medical appliances, chemical and environmental applications, etc. For instance, from industrial perspective, the inkjet printing heads are one of the largest applications of this technology, MST, microsystem technology. So a print jet printer uses several cartridges each year, and they have a resolution of 1200 dots per inch. This resolution converts to a nozzle separation of about 21 micrometers, and that is in the microsystem range. So the nozzle inside the cartridge is having a size of around 21 micrometer, so that is in the range of microsystem technology. This is in a large diagram of an inkjet printer head. So this is the path of the ink. The red color is the ink. Above that red color is the conductor, and this is the silicon substrate, and there is a thermal barrier. So when heat is provided, then and when this ink reached here under this conductor. Then the resistant heat is given to this ink, and then this it is expanded, this ink, and then it comes out through the nozzle, and then it is placed or printed onto the papers. So it has a very big application. So this nozzle palette and this structure, all this structure is made by MST, by Microsystem Technology. And without that technology, it would not be possible to achieve this cartridge at this level, to achieve the 1200 dots per inch. So this is one of the big applications of this technology. In automotive components, there are around 20 to 100 sensors installed in modern automobiles, and the functions and different instruments and components in our cars are related to cruise control, anti-lock braking systems, airbag deployment, uh, automatic transmission control, automatic stability control, onboard navigation system, and different sensors and actuators used in the modern automobiles. In 1970s, there were virtually no onboard sensors. But due to this advancement in this technology, it is possible to use and to get all these functionalities into our car due to this technology. This is an example of an ABS system in a car, and the main components of this system are the controller, hydraulic units, and the wheel speed sensors used in our cars, and ABS systems are used to control the brake as compared to apply the brakes in a controllable manner. And I think that some of you or most of you would know about this functionality of this system. But the important thing is the sensors and the circuitry used in ABS system is made possible by MEMS and MST technology. Some examples of the sensors installed in automobile are the accelerometer is used in airbags, the angular speed sensor is used in the navigation systems, level sensors is used to sense the oil and gasoline levels, pressure sensors are used in the manifold, exhaust manifolds, and in the fluid pressure of hydraulic systems in our cars. Proximity range sensors are used to measure the distance from the front and rear bumpers, and the temperature sensors are used inside the car cabin, and also used to sense the temperature in the engines. So there are different applications of these sensors in the cars. Another big area is medical applications. And a driving force for microscopic devices in medical applications is the principle of minimal invasive therapy, which means using very small incisions or even available body orifices to access the medical problem of concern. For example, the heart stents and the disc surgery, bone disc surgery, are nowadays is performed by minimal invasive surgery. Instead of having a full-fledged surgery, they insert a camera, and then they observe the disc, that how much disc is coming out from the bone, and then they are trying to manage the surgery instead of having the full-fledged opening of the backbone. Another application is the angioplasty, telesurgery, pacemakers, implantable sensors to monitor physical variables in human body. Uh, as you know, that pacemakers are nowadays is used in a human body in order to control the heart pulses. As you know that there is a big issue with the heart when its rhythm is uncontrollable. Then these small instruments called pacemakers are installed into human body, and they are going to control the pulse of the heart. If the heart pulse is disturbed, then it is called arrhythmia in medical terms, and that is a big issue. Either it will pump more blood to the body or low blood to the body. So in both cases, high blood pressure and low blood pressure is not desirable for our body. So pacemakers are used to give pulses once the heart is not uh, doing its purpose or pumping its in a proper manner. Growing use of similar procedures is expected in brain surgery and operating through one or more small holes drilled through the skull. This is on the left side is a pacemaker that includes a battery, sensors, and the circuitry for that center, and a lead is attached to the heart, the different areas of the heart where it gives when the heart pulse is disturbed, then this pacemaker is fixed that on how much when the pulse is reduced from 60 then it start working, or if it is reduced increased from 90 or 100 then it start working to make it around 70. As you know it that our normal pulse of our heart should be around 70 to 72 per minute. So this is also made from microfabrication technology. Now, the important material used in this technology, in this microsystem technology, is silicon, and why it is used. The reason of using silicon is that it has a very good mechanical properties. It has high strength and elasticity, good hardness, and low density. Similarly, it has a very good semiconductor. It is a very good semiconductor, and it conducts electricity under some conditions and acts as an insulator under other conditions. Its development techniques to process silicon is well established. It is another advantage of using this in microfabrication technology. And similarly, in micro devices, include electronic circuits. So both the circuit and the device made of silicon can be made on the same substrate. So it is possible to integrate the micro devices in the circuits with silicon easily. So these are some of the advantages. That's why we are using silicon in these products or components. There are certain other materials used in MST processing. These are nickel, platinum, and gold. Now, let's study some of the fabrication processes of these MSTs and MEMS. So the basic process flow in the microfabrication of MST and MEMS, there are three main parts or three steps in their microfabrication. One is the deposition, another is the patterning, and third one is the etching. In deposition, a substrate is made of silicon, and a thin film of either silicon or another material is deposited onto this substrate, and a photoresist is further deposited on it. The deposition processes are oxidation, sputtering, evaporation. Its details are in book as well as in the one of the slides there. But you should know that the important thing for you is to know that there are three basic processes. One is the deposition used by these methods. Another one is the patterning. Patterning means using light source to have a pattern on the photoresist. There are photoresist materials, and when light is placed on that, then with the help of a mask, so then only that area is removed. So it is photoresist is used for that purpose, and that is achieved by lithography methods. Lithography means the light source is used to develop a pattern with the help of a mask onto the substrate. The third part is once the pattern and the photoresist is developed, then the etching process is the removal of the material only in that area. And there are certain chemicals and acids are used to achieve that etching, and that is different types of the etching is the wet isotropic, wet anisotropic, and plasma etching methods are used. So this is the basic process of fabrication in MSTs. What is photoresist? As I said, that it is a light sensitive material used in several processes, and it is deposited onto the substrate, and photolithography or light is used to form a pattern coating on a surface. This process is critical in the electronic industry. So when we are making these types of parts, structures, and from these structures we develop sensors and actuators. So the photolithography is one of the important step in this fabrication process. Basic microfabrication technologies, as I showed it to you, that there are the three types, and each type is having the different methods. For instance, in deposition, it is chemical vapor deposition, epitaxy, oxidation, etc. In etching, etching is basically the removal of the material under the uh, photoresist to make the structures, and uh, these are the different methods to achieve etching. Patterning is the making of the pattern or print onto the photoresist that is further used by etching to achieve the structure, required structure into the materials. So photolithography, also called optical lithography or UV lithography, ultraviolet light, is a process used in microfabrication to pattern parts or print parts on thin film or the bulk of a substrate. Bulk of a substrate means that it can be used in bulk as well, and bulk micromachining means that that can be used by etching to have in-depth holes or structure into it. Photolithography uses light to transfer a geometric pattern from a photo mask. A mask is there, so that mask allows a certain part of the light onto the photoresist. So the light, which is the part of the photoresist that is exposed to the light, is removed, while the remaining part is intact. So the photo mask is the design of our pattern. So it uses light to transfer a geometric pattern from a photo mask to a photosensitive chemical photoresist on the substrate. This is a simple process of lithography in which the silicon silicon oxide layer is there, and then photoresist is placed on it. That photoresist is unexposed on the edges, but at the center it is exposed to light. So when it is exposed to light, so it has the property or the capability that that place will be removed. So then we can have further processing of this silicon oxide and silicon by using the etching process. So lithography is to have a pattern or a print onto the substrate with the help of a light source. The principle of lithographic structuring is that on a silicon substrate, the base of the structure, we called it substrate, that is usually made of silicon, and then we deposit a metal film on it. Then in this case it is step 2, the resist in red color is placed, deposited on it. Then a mask and light source is applied, and then this mask allows to have a certain pattern to allow a certain light onto the photoresist. And then after the lithography process, the resist is removed here in these areas, and then the metal film is exposed, and this is the development of the resist. And then etching or chemicals are used to remove that part of the metal film, and then at the end that resist is also removed because we don't need its purpose. Its purpose was achieved. And then once the resist is removed, then we have a when the resist is removed, then we have a substrate of the silicon with the metal film with the required structure on it. Silicon layering processes in microfabrication. These are the this is the detailed description of the processes used. The first is lithography. Lithography is the patterning or printing process, and light source is used with the help of a mask. The other 4 processes: thermal oxidation, chemical vapor deposition, physical deposition. These are the deposition processes, deposition of the metals onto the silicon wafers to make the microstructures. Electroplating and electroless plating is the layer additions onto the sometimes we need layer additions onto the process. This is also a deposition processes, but that is done by electroplating. Thermal deposition and fine implantation is the adding of the impurities to the materials to get the required properties into the materials, and that is called doping, and that is used to change the layers inside the material. And wet etching and dry etching is the removal of the material by chemicals, and the details is given, so you can read it. The principles of batch fabrication is that on a silicon wafer, its size is around 10.2 centimeter. It could be possible to make more than one structure with the help of that MST technology. And then single, in case of the from this wafer MST, by the application of this MST, a single structure of around 3.7 millimeter can be seen here. And then inside that single structure, only a part of that structure that seems a hanging structure of the, it seems a sensor of 0.7 millimeter. So by this way we can have a batch fabrication of the a lot of sensors and structures on a single wafer of silicon. Silicon layer processes are that first it was in the MST, it was used in the fabrication of piezoresistive sensors. And it was in early 1960s to measure these stress, strain, and pressure purposes. Silicon is now widely used in MST to produce sensors, actuators, and other micro devices. And the basic processing technologies are same with the like the integrated circuits. The differences between the microfabrication processes and integrated circuit fabrication is their aspect ratio. Aspect ratio is the height to width ratio of the features in the component or product or in a structure. So the device sizes in microfabrication are much larger than in IC processing. So the structure produced in microfabrication often include cantilevers and bridges and other shapes requiring gaps between layers. So the aspect ratio in IC integrated circuits is smaller as compared to the microfabricated RMST components. So on the left side is the integrated aspect ratio in the IC, that is the width to height or height to width ratio, and here it is the MST technology. Here the aspect ratio is higher as compared to the IC circuits. However, their substrates thicknesses and sizes are same. So that is the basic fundamental difference between ICs and MSTs. The development of 3D features in microfabrication. So in single crystal silicon, etching rate depends on the orientation of the lattice structure. Orientation of the lattice structure means the arrangement of atoms into the microstructure of the silicon. And 3D features can be produced in single crystal silicon by wet etching, provided the crystal structure is oriented to allow the etching process to proceed anisotropically. Anisotropic means that the material or the structure is having different properties at different orientations. So three crystal faces in the silicon cubic lattice structure are 100 crystal face, B is 110 crystal face. It means that here, if the coordinate system is at the then it will be this face is 110 because it touches the x-axis. So x-axis is 1 and y and z is 0. Here the x and y is 1 but z is 0. And here all the three sides of the plane is touching the crystal, so it is 111 crystal face. So all of these we will have different properties when we are talking about the anisotropic structure. When the etching process proceeds anisotropically. Now this is the anisotropic chemical etching of silicon 100 wafers. So in silicon nitrate etch masks are used, and this silicon wafer is duped, and then when we applied etch after the photolithography, then only this area is exposed, and then it will be going, the removal of the atoms will be in this V shape. So H will attack, the chemical will attack only this, and then we would get a possible structures like this. This is basically a top view of the structure. This is the front view of the structures. Etch pits. Pits are basically small holes that are generated from the etching process using the N using in the N isotropic etching of the silicon 1,1 wafers. So basically, this is a silicon wafer. This is a microstructure, and its direction is in 100 direction in this. So when we applied etching on this material in 111 plane, then due to this anisotropic behavior, it will target only this place, and it will create a surface and etching into this wafer in this direction with certain angle. So these are basically these etch pits produced into the material. Here in this structure, it is the wafer is 100 and the 100 direction, and then the 111 direction the etching is applied. So we would get a etch pit or structure like this with a certain angle. And if we want to remove or to increase the etching, then the etching rate can be increased to have a different structure of it. Bulk micromachining to achieve large aspect ratio. Bulk micromachining is the deep wet etching process on a single silicon substrate. It means that etching is used to create a big hole or at a higher depth to in the bulk micromachining processes on a single crystal silicon. But the surface micromachining is the planar structure of the substrate surface, and that is not a very in-depth hole, or it is just a shallow etching. So that is the difference between bulk micromachining and surface micromachining. So in some structures we need bulk micromachining structure, and in some parts we need surface micromachining structures. Bulk micromachining to create thin membranes in microstructures. So a method is needed to control the etching penetration into the silicon. A common method is to dope the silicon substrate. Dope means to have to bring and to integrate and to mix the impurity with the silicon substrate, and that is with boron atoms. Normally is done with boron atom, which reduces the etching rate of silicon. So basically we can control the etching process of these microstructure of silicon with the help of a doping material that is called boron. So boron is added to them. Epitaxial overlayer deposition is then used to apply an upper layer of silicon so that it will have the same single crystal structure and lattice orientation as the substrate. This is the process steps in a silicon substrate, and this is the bulk micromachine structure. If you can see that a lot of material is removed, but the process is that on a silicon substrate, single structure, boron layer is deposited. The deposition of the deposition technologies, as I told you, they have different methods, and as we have studied in the previous slides, and you can read them that how deposition is performed. But the important thing is about the steps that how to achieve this bulk micromachining on a silicon substrate. So it is doped with boron. Then in the second step, a thick layer of silicon is applied onto the layer of that boron, and then both sides are oxidized to form a silicon oxide resist onto the surface. This is silicon oxide is the photoresist. and then the resist is patterned by lithography. In the fourth step, only light is placed on here, but here it is not there, so it is only this part of the layer of the boron of the silicon is exposed after lithography. And then anisotropic etching is used to remove the silicon in the boron group layer. So then with the help of this anisotropic etching, it will only remove the silicon substrate, but it will not have any effect. That etching will not have any effect on the boron. So by this way, we would have a structure with a boron membrane, and then these structures are used. This is a simple process, but in the sensors and actuators, complicated structures are developed like this. So these are the basic steps in the fabrication of these structures for MSTs. This is the bulk micromachining pressure sensors on ceramic substrate, and you can see that these are the sensors developed by the bulk micromachining, these parts. And here these sensors are installed with the ICs. This picture is a bit old. Now its sizes are further reduced. So they are in the nanoscale now. With these methods, we can also develop cantilevers, overhangs, and similar structures for sensors and actuators. This is the surface. We have studied the bulk micromachining, but another method is surface micromachining, when we are not using to remove a very big area of the silicon. So in surface micromachining, a small part of the surface is removed. And this is the surface micromachining to form a cantilever structure. So the steps are: on the silicon substrate is formed a silicon dioxide layer, that is basically the photoresist, and then portions of the silicon layer are etched using lithography. They are removed. A polysilicon layer is applied, another layer of the polysilicon is applied, and then portions of the polysilicon are again etched. The silicon oxide layer is removed. So the silicon oxide layer beneath the cantilever is selectively etched. So we would get a cantilever structure like this with the help of surface micromachining in this using MST technology. This is the example of a surface micromachine electrostatic comb drive XY actuator. So this is the full structure of the actuator that is made by the MST technology, and the three steps involved in it are the deposition, patterning by lithography, and then etching. And the basic structure on the substrate of silicon, the metals are the MST technology is applied to develop this structure. A comb drive actuator consists of two structures. One is fixed and the other is suspended. So when a voltage is applied between the comb structure, will resist any deflection of the movable comb structure by electrostatic forces. So comb drive actuators can be used, are used in different products such as the optical shutters, resonators, micro grippers, and voltmeters, driving elements in it, vibrometers, and in micro mechanical gears. Another technique in the microfabrication is called lift-off technique. So a procedure to pattern metals such as platinum on a substrate. These structures are used in certain chemical sensors but are difficult to produce by wet etching. So dry etching provides anisotropic etching in almost any material. What is dry etching? It is the removal by the physical and chemical interaction between an ionized gas and the atoms of surface exposed to the gas. So in lift-up process, dry etching method is used. These are the steps in lift-up process. Uh, First, the photoresist is applied, then lithography is used, then a pattern is developed. Then on this pattern, the platinum is deposited onto this surface, and then the resist is removed. So we would get only the platinum on the microstructure or to the silicon wafer. So this platinum with silicon structure is having uh, different applications in ICs. Another process used for the microfabrication is LIGA, that is very popular process, and it is developed in Germany in early 1980s. And the LIGA stand for the German words. So one is in the first step it is the lithography, in the second it is the electrodeposition or electroforming, and in the third step it is the plastic molding. The letters indicate the LIGA process sequence. These are the German words for the LIGA. These are the steps in LIGA process, but I think the next slide, in this slide, it would be easy to understand it, that how the basic steps in LIGA is applied by using lithography and electroplating. So the substrate of silicon is there, and then a photoresist with yellow color. On top of that is the mask, and above that is the absorber structure. So when light is placed on it, so then it will create a structure into the photoresist. So the part of the photoresist is exposed, so it will have a hexagonal structure like this. So we would get a photoresist on a substrate with this structure, and that is the development. That is the printing of process using the lithography process. Then a metal is deposited by the electroplating process. So a metal is deposited uh, this onto the uh, onto this substrate, and then in the last step, the with the help of the etching, photoresist, this yellow color is removed. So we would get a metal structure onto the silicon substrate like this. So this is the LIGA process, and it is different from the other processes that here it is the electroplating is used. Electroplating of the metal is used instead of the other deposition. So that is one of the deposition processes. That is the difference between the LIGA and the other techniques used. So advantages of this process is that it can produce parts at different by several different methods, and it high aspect ratios are possible. That is height to width ratios in the part, and different sizes of the parts can be developed with the range of micrometers to centimeters, and these the aspect ratios can be achieved with this. But the only disadvantage is it is very expensive process. So if the quantities of the parts are large, so then economies of scale can be achieved. Otherwise, it is very expensive process. So if we are going to make it for few parts, then it would not be advisable to make it. Similarly, the nanotechnology is the next generation of smaller devices and their fabrication processes, and the range is 10 raised to power 9 meter, 1 nanometer. And structure of this size can almost be thought of as a purposely arranged collection of individual atoms. So its process, fabrication process is same like micro technology. So these are the few videos that I would like to share with you, and these videos are related to the fabrication processes, the application of these materials onto the substrates, and how they are used in electronics. Uh, so I would like to stop it here. Thank you very much for your listening. And if you have any questions, but before going to that, I would like to have a video